Welcome back, everybody. I want you to quickly do me a favor. Grab your phones and get a hot cup of coffee because it is time for Legal Grounds. McCormick Law Firm owner Cagney McCormick is back to answer your accident and personal injury questions live. And Cagney, people are ready to text questions to us. Remind us again, what are we talking about today?
Getting injured on the job. It's a totally different circumstance when you're on the job and not on the job.
We were just talking about that off camera, and I was learning quite a few things. So, getting injured on the job, if you guys have questions, I don't want you to wait. I want you to text your questions now to 214-977-6028. Cagney, first, can you describe what a work injury case is in the state of Texas?
Simplest form is if you're clocked in, being paid, you are on the job, and if you get injured either by an employee or even a non-employee, it's still an on-the-job injury.
So if you're doing your work, you're there, then that's what that is. Okay, and specifically in the state of Texas. So, okay, if somebody is injured on the job, what are their options in Texas? What do they do?
Well, hopefully your company subscribes to some type of workers' comp plan so that they will pay your earnings and pay your medical treatment, and even hopefully if you have a long-term injury, your long-term treatment.
Okay. And what happens if you are injured on the job and your company is a non-subscriber to the Texas Workers' Comp Plan?
Sometimes you can be a non-subscriber and still have like a private insurance your company has. You've got to find out immediately. Somebody in HR should know. And if they don't even have that, then you need to call an attorney because there are definitely legal options you're going to have to pursue with an attorney.
Okay, next one. What happens when you're injured at work, but your company is not at fault, or they say they're not at fault?
Well, if you're injured at work, their workers' comp plan has to hopefully cover you regardless of fault. So you want to check that out. And if somebody else is at fault, then you could have a workers' comp case plus that other person's insurance policy could cover you.
Okay, and again, that's why you want to go to an attorney to really go through these details. We are getting questions from viewers. Let's take a look at our first question here. Rosa wrote in and said, should you go to a doctor right away to see if you have an injury like a fall? So you fall at work, do you go to the doctor immediately?
In any injury case, you want to record your mechanism for injury and your pain levels as soon as possible. It makes for the strongest case. So going to a manager, going to somebody and saying, I am injured, I need to see a doctor that day or the next day is going to by far make your case a lot easier for yourself to handle or even an attorney.
We say going to a manager, and I would think maybe even putting that in writing, following up with an email to say that. What would you say to that?
Everything in writing is better in any case, whether it's text message or email, something you can send saying, I tried to tell somebody I was injured, and showing it to an attorney or even the Workers' Comp Commission.
All right, always document. Okay, here's our next question. This is a long one, so I'm going to paraphrase for you. This is from a single mom. She said her back was injured at work in October, then COVID exposure in January. She returned to work after she cleared of COVID, but was later fired. They have gotten away with not paying me benefits, and it's caused undue stress for my family. What do you recommend? So we had that injury, then COVID, comes back, then firing. Where does she start here?
So I see two issues in that. One, she was terminated for possibly a work injury. That's called retaliation, illegal in Texas, and need to speak to an attorney just on that case alone. The second is it's workers' comp related. It's a work injury, and COVID and workers' comp haven't figured it out how it works yet. But you need to speak to an experienced workers' comp attorney so that you can start that process if you haven't already of arguing for your benefits.
Well, just listening to you right there, already going through those layers, that's why you want to speak to that attorney. We're getting another question. People really have a lot today. So this comes from one of our viewers saying, my husband has worked on his job for 35 years and has several issues that he has never reported. He's getting ready to retire, and we think he needs to be evaluated by a work doctor. That should go on a workers' comp claim, correct? What are your responses?
If that injury is related to the 35 years of work, definitely need to report it to HR, management, and then go through that process that you recommend through their insurance plan, or speak to a workers' comp attorney because that is going to be a difficult case. But it doesn't mean you don't have a case. It's just going to be very difficult since it's been 30 plus years of not recognizing the injury.
And that circles back to what we were saying is report it in writing as soon as you can and go to the doctor and get the documentation. Okay, we've got another question. What if you were denied workers' comp due to previous conditions? Oh, this is interesting.
And this is what really most Texas workers' comp attorneys are looking for some type of denial, and then they get involved and fight for your rights. So this is the perfect situation that you should be calling some type of work injury workers' compensation attorney so that they can review, is it related to your previous injuries or your job, or it can be both and you still win.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for answering these. This is always fascinating to me. So you're going to be back again, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How can people contact you in the meantime?
By email, anytime. C. McCormick at theinjuryattorney.law. 24 hours a day, I'm available.
I always love that he gives out his personal email. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you on. McCormick Law Firm offices offer clients a free consultation. All you have to do is call 972-972-4444 or go to notатfault.law for more information.